Welcome back to Stories from the River. I'm your host, Charlie Malouf, and I'm joined today by Wes Dudley, our VP of Customer Experience, and Anita Harris, our Director of Customer Experience. Two amazing return guests to Stories from the River. Wes and Anita, welcome back.
Thank you, Charlie. We're excited to be here.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
So you guys have really had an elevated year this past year. I saw some of these last numbers, the end of the year numbers, the recap numbers, which I feel like they were elevating all year. And I just said, Wes, I think I caught you in the hallway. I said, we got to bring you on to talk to the podcast to talk about it. So Wes, I mean, what happened this year?
Yeah, we, Anita are excited to be here to share what our CX All-Stars have done this year. And yes, I did say CX All-Stars. You know, with that, we, Sam, Anita, and I lead the CX team. Purpose begins with identity, and we launched 2023 with our identity of CX All-Stars. With that, they handle everything through the customer journey. So escalations, issues along the way. We took that one step further, and we include that in our career path. So going from the minors to the majors, everyone is a player. Our supervisors are team coaches. We have base hits based on their KPIs every week so that we can measure that along the way and reward them at the end of the year for their amount of base hits.
I love the correlation and everything, all the ways you're infusing like the language with the CX All-Stars. I played baseball as a kid. Like, what's a grand slam? What is hitting for the cycle? Have we determined that yet?
So grand slam is really when they hit all the metrics for that month. I believe that looking Anita for this, I believe they get one extra point for doing that.
5 points to the 4.
Yeah. I got it. So you do have it all figured out. I love it. So I can't wait to go through like what are RBIs, okay, ERA. We'll go through all that, strikeouts and everything else. Okay, so but talk to us about these KPIs, like key performance indicators. Like Wes, where did you guys end up? Where you expected to end up for the end of the year on your key performance indicators?
Yeah, we really exceeded the year. And, you know, walking into 2023, as we started talking through what did we want to do with our KPIs, we started looking at that and look at the opportunity. We didn't just want to increase year over year. We wanted to be best in industry. And with that, we went out, did some research and set all of our goals at best in industry KPIs. With that, very excited too that we actually were a finalist for Contact Center of the Year in 2020.
That's amazing.
And we want to bring that prize home in 2023.
We got to. So Contact Center of the Year amongst how many, and we're just little old Broad River Retail, amongst how many other folks did we compete against? Yeah,
I know there were over 100 applications. Okay. And there are different size contact centers, and we were with it, what they called at the award ceremony, in the big guys race. Okay. Wow. So with that, we were competing with, some very, very large contact centers as well.
Got it. And when you say you want to be the best in the industry, are you defining industry as the furniture industry, home furnishings, or retail? How do you define our industry?
Yeah, it starts with retail because that's really where most of the metrics are. Okay. But then going also back to some of our big competitors in furniture, where are they? And a lot of that was gathering information through networking, conversations, and things like that.
Well, I think when you're talking all of retail, I mean, now you're going to like Amazons of the world. And I mean, there's some big retailers out there who do a great job with customer experience. So to have that as your vision with these all-stars and which is a great identity. And we'll show the logo on the screen here. So I think that's amazing. So walk us through the KPIs and the results.
Yeah. First, I'll say that, what you measure is what you meet. And with that, I'm sure you've heard that many times, but with that, it was also important for us to share with our leadership on a weekly basis where we are, not just our team, but also the leadership team so that everyone is aware of that. But yeah, to walk you through the KPIs, and for those that aren't familiar with contact center lingo, I'm going to do a little bit of explanation along the way.
Please, that would be very helpful.
So with that, first up is average speed of answer. And average speed of answer is the amount of time from the time the customer comes into queue until we actually have an agent that picks up the phone. And with that, our goal this year was 30 seconds, and we actually hit 23 seconds.
Okay, so that's amazing. So your goal was, what was the best you'd ever done?
Probably around that 30 second
Yeah,
mark.
I think it was 36 seconds last year, I believe.
Well,
I think it was a little bit better, but
was it? Okay.
But
between 30 and 36 seconds, and so we got it below the goal for the whole year. I mean, and every second counts in this game, right? Why is it important, average speed of answer?
Average speed of answer, one, will stop your repeat callers from calling in, disconnecting, abandoning, which we'll talk about in a second, and having to call back in.
Okay.
So I've been at contact centers where we've been at a 1.5, 2 minute speed of answer, and your repeat callers coming in could be as high as 20 or 30%.
Okay. And this is once they're into the queue, they said, and we're not offshoring like this. These are local agents answering the calls, right?
Local, and note 100% remote.
Okay.
Local,
wow.
which we can measure.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. So average speed of answer, nailed it. You crushed it.
Crushed it. Love it. Abandonment rate is the next one. So abandonment rate is the customer has called, they have connected into a queue, but they hang up before they actually connect to someone.
Yeah, that's no good. They give up.
They give up, but it could also be, I didn't mean to call yet. I just got interrupted. My call got disconnected because I lost cell service. There could be multiple things. So with that, best in industry is 5%, and we hit 3.5%.
Wow. That's really impressive.
Loving it.
That's 150 basis points less than best in class.
Yes.
And you can't get zero because, like you said, they could I just hung up, lost cell service, what have you. I didn't mean to call. So only 3.5% abandoned.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep these hits rolling. You got a hitting streak going, Wes.
I love it. Love it. Next one's customer effort score, and this was one that we had never scored ourselves at Broad River before. And with the customer effort score, it's the percentage of time that we're taking effort off of the customer. So that could be for having to call them back in again to get a different agent because I didn't like the answer. That could be that we're trying to make sure that we resolved whatever the issue was at the first time. But we followed up on a call to make sure that if we told them we were going to call them back, we do that. So it's really the amount of effort we're taking off of them. And our goal this year was at 90%, and we hit 97.9%.
You really slayed that one.
Really, and we didn't know what to expect at the beginning of the year. And we struggled the first probably quarter of the year.
Right.
So it was in the 80% range. So we really made ground throughout the year.
To finish at 90, so if you finish at 97.9 for the year, was this for the last quarter or is this for the whole year?
The full year?
Wow. And yet you started at 80%. Yeah. How do you measure that though? What are you looking at to measure the customer effort score? And is that industry standard or is it something we created?
It is something that we created off of input from the industry. Okay. So there are things for first call resolution that are measured. There are things for repeat callers that are measured. And we came up with our own score to kind of combine those two things. And Dolores and Alicia on our team, I'm looking at Anita to make sure I got the names right, yes. Have actually worked on this repeat caller process so that they've identified who's had repeat callers, why are they having to call back, so we can continue to coach and put in knowledge base and make sure we're training on those things to reduce those calls coming in.
Oh, that's music to my ears when you can get like a ownership of a first call resolution. I want to unpack that a little bit more, but keep going through the KPIs here.
Sure. Service level. Okay. So service level is the percent of calls that we're answering within 30 seconds. And with that, that's every single call. So was forecasting right? Did we make sure we had the right people at the right time? Did we have any kind of network blips, anything like that? And with that, our goal was 85%, and we did miss that goal by 2% at 83% this year.
Okay.
But very close.
And that's once they start the call or once they get into the queue?
Once they get into the queue.
Okay. Once they're into the queue, service levels. And is it for any hour of the day or only the hours that we're open?
It is for only the hours we're open.
Got it. Okay. And so let's keep going. So we're 3 out of 4 so far. Still we're batting 750 right
now. Next is hold time. And that's the amount of time that the agent has to put the customer on hold during the conversation.
Okay.
So it could be that they need additional help from one of our senior agents. It could be they need additional resource to validate something, make an outbound call. So with that, our goal was 2 minutes, and we hit 1 minute and 58 seconds. So
Okay,
we
fantastic.
definitely is kind of spot on with that goal.
Now, is that an average hold time or only it's an average if they have to go on hold?
It is an average hold time for all calls.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
When we put them on hold, not
When we put
Right.
them on.
got it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. And the next up is handle time, and that is the duration of the call. So that is how long it actually took the agent to handle the call, talk through the call. And even though we were at a miss there, our goal was 6 minutes. We were at 6 minutes and 1 second.
6
We
minutes.
only missed it by 1 second.
Do you know what that was the year before?
6:12 or 6:14.
Yeah.
Ish.
So just a little bit over.
So someone's calling in. They're usually getting their call answered within 30 seconds, and then they're on the phone for about 6 minutes, and then they've got the answer that they're looking for more times than not.
Yes.
Yes.
And then is there like are you also measuring the work after the call to like process all the inputs?
Next one up.
Oh, okay. Next one.
But I want to hit on the average handle time because I think this is important to point out. And
Okay.
not to get into too much about next year, but we're making some changes in 2024 with our tech stack. And some of our easier calls are going to be handled with bot technology,
Okay.
which means that we could start to lose ground a little bit with that handle time because the calls are going to get more difficult.
More complex.
Mhm.
Of
Yeah.
the ones, well, you count the ones that the bot answers.
Yes.
Not everyone knows what a tech stack means. What do you mean when you say with our tech stack?
Yeah. So what we're talking about is all the technology that we use inside call centers. So with that, we have Ring Central that is really our call center software. We have, NICE, which is our call center software, Ring Central, which is our telephony side of that, which manages the phones and our messaging. And then we have Storus, which is our ERP. We're using Dispatch Track to handle our routing and any calls that we have with that. We use LivePerson for our chat. So it's all those different systems. And we evaluated this year of things that we need to make changes for in 2024. And I don't want to steal Anita's thunder. She's going to talk about that in a minute.
I got it. Okay. All right. So a couple more KPIs here.
Yes. So after call work.
Okay.
So after call work, this is what the agent does after the call is over.
Okay.
So finishing casework, following up with an outbound call that might need to make after the customer releases, all those types of things. And we had a goal of 1 minute.
That seems like an aggressive goal. Just 1 minute? Okay.
It is.
Okay.
Well, I think the whole goal is to make sure that we're typing in notes and we're doing everything that we can while that customer's on the phone.
Okay.
So that they feel everything's completed, I'm good, and they don't have to make a repeat call.
That's a good point. So you're not doing all the work right when the call ends. You're actually doing a lot of the work during the call.
Exactly.
Okay, I got it. And how do we end up, Wes?
We end up at 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Okay.
So that's the one that we want to continue to work on as well.
It's an opportunity. Okay,
yes,
got it.
The last for the CX side before I get into service is planned returns. And for this one, this was a big opportunity for us in 2022. And in 2023, we really took focus of this. This is when a return has to happen after the delivery because we have to plan it. We have to plan a pickup.
Right. It's been in their home, but yet they want to make a return.
Right.
We can't resolve it. Can't fix it.
Can't resolve or repair or whatever it might be.
We don't like those.
We don't like those at all. And we had a goal of 2%.
Which is a pretty low number.
Which we actually don't have something to measure in the industry, but that's what we came up with is 2%. Very aggressive. And we ended at 1.74.
I love it. That is awesome. Okay, so it looks like you got 6 out of 8 on your high level goals, if I'm counting these correctly. Yeah, that's
for CX. I still have service.
Okay, for CX. Okay, let's keep it going.
Okay, one thing to note about service, just to give the listeners a little bit more information, is service is a repair technician that goes out to repair through a service call, ordering parts. We have a whole team that does the part ordering, the routing, coordinating with the customer, and then we have a team of service techs that actually goes and completes the appointment. When we started 2023, we still had a mix of in-house and third-party. With Sam, Brittany, and Jay's help on the team, we were able to bring all that mid-year in-house.
Wow.
Which is a huge savings from third-party costs.
Okay. So did it improve performance or just cut costs?
So now we'll talk about what the okay. So the 3 KPIs we're measuring there, one is the service completion rate. So this is when I get into the home, was the customer home? 2, was I able to complete it or do I have to come back for a second appointment? All those types of scenarios. We had a goal of 95%, and we spot on hit it at 95%.
Well, that's incredible. I think that's an aggressive goal. I don't know what we did last year. Do you recall?
I don't remember the number.
But 90.
Yeah. Charlie, I don't know if we were measuring it last year.
Okay.
Because as we took in the mid-year part is when we really got aggressive with our KPIs.
19 out of 20 are being successful. Now, what is a successful completion? Like they repair it in the home and
so successful completion is they either repaired it, meaning that that leg, I'm looking over here is the sofa that nobody there can see, but the leg on the sofa needs to be adjusted. Okay. It needs to something, or it could be that a mechanism, or it could be that, the side of the chair is broken and we had to order a new part, unstitch and restitch the fabrics to be able to do that. We're really repairing the product back to the satisfaction of the customer.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Next up is closed service orders. And this was a number that we weren't sure how to forecast as we looked at the in-house and the third party and then going full in-house. But our goal was 9,360 total services we wanted to complete with our service techs we had.
That's a lot.
And we completed 9,684.
I mean, I'm trying to do the math on how many that is per day or per month. I won't be able to figure that out, but that's a lot.
Well, this number goes up as returns go down. Okay. Because as you have a return, we're trying to make sure that we're getting them out to repair versus actually returning the product.
That's nearly 10,000 closed service orders. That's a lot of volume.
A lot.
Okay.
A lot. And then the next one I'm very excited about is the CSAT. So what CSAT is the customer satisfaction at how the appointment went, how the service appointment went, that's rated on the service tech.
CSAT stands for customer satisfaction.
Yes. Of
your service technician. Okay.
Yes.
And that's as the customer grades it?
That's as the customer grades it through a survey.
Okay.
And our goal was 95%, and we hit 97% customer satisfaction.
That's incredible. What technology are you using to measure that?
So for 2023, we were using Qualtrics.
Okay. And what would you advise someone, like, how did you train an in-house team or develop an in-house team to be this good? Where do, if someone else wants to do this, how do they find a team? So you gave us you called it CX, you gave us the contact center, fully remote in the Carolinas team stats, which were amazing. And now you're giving us local service technicians. Is that, what are they called in the CX All-Star verbiage?
Service technician.
Oh, service technicians.
Yeah, we kept that the same.
Okay. And so these experts are going to the home, and over 95% of the time, they're completing it, and 97% of the time, the customer's saying, yeah, I'm really happy with it. So what's the secret behind their success?
So I'll hit on two things. I'm going to turn it to Anita to answer one thing for me. But for the appointments themselves, I think it's making sure that we are prepared for that appointment. We have the route right. We have the schedules right. And Brittany's team is the one that completes all that. So okay. I think that's the most important part. Planning is everything. Second part is, thank you, Jay, for everything that he's done as manager of that group to make sure that he's coaching and training and pulling the team together and just making sure that we have the right tools, we have the right parts, and he has the right ability to do it.
Well, where do the skill sets come from? Do they come from the distribution center and then they decide they want to go out onto the road, or do you hire them and say, hey, do you want to come work for us? We got this. And do they come to the DC every morning to check in, or to a store, or do they just get their appointments and then off they go that day?
It's a mix. So we have some of our service technicians that were brought in from the outside, and we have some that came from our DCs.
Okay.
And worked their way up and did a great job, and now they're on the roads with us. Most of them, I think, still go from their home to the location, and they're great. I mean, we're able to probably get more done because they don't have to come into the DC and check in and do all that stuff first. They can go straight to work helping our customers, and they've done a great job with it.
How many local ones do we have? And are they in every one of our local markets?
Mm-hmm.
We have 6 currently across the markets. Or as I say, we have 6 positions currently plus Jay. We do have, if anybody's listening, we do have an opening right now. Just saying.
Always be recruiting, Wes. Always be recruiting.
That we need to fulfill. And Jay's very picky at who we're going to fulfill at that. So we want to make sure.
Slowly.
Yes.
In which market do we have this position?
It'll be in Fort Mill.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And one thing, and that's what I wanted to ask Anita to talk about, is the parts ordering piece, because I think that's also a huge piece that really affected this the last part of the year.
Yeah. Shout out to Sam and Brittany and Samantha Bloom and Samantha Johnson, who's one of the supervisors, and Brittany, because their team makes sure they speak to those customers. They really dive in to make sure they understand what the problem is, what the issue is that the customer's having. And then the parts are ordered immediately at that particular call. And then now we have an outbound team that's going to be checking on those particular parts. And once we know those parts are ready to be shipped, we're going to call the customer and get them scheduled for the appointment. So we're being more proactive in taking away the effort that the customer has to show in order to get their parts fixed.
Because historically, Anita, the part would have to be received at the customer's home, and then they would call us to schedule, hey, it's here. Can we get the service tech? What you're saying is we're going to monitor when that part's going to ship and then align our technician. So you want very little, you want almost the technician to meet the part.
Exactly.
Yeah, on the day of delivery or the day after and say, hey, we're going to be here. Let's go through this. And make sure that the right part is ordered, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is Ashley shipping parts pretty, or vendors, TSI, Ashley, Purple, et cetera?
I think
is it pretty quickly?
I haven't heard the complaints like, in the past we had some issues there, but I haven't heard them as much. So
That's
Sam's
great.
And I'm not hearing them either.
Oh, it's fantastic. Okay. So great KPIs. Thank you for walking us through that, Wes. What you got next?
First of all, any questions about that?
Well, I think we answered our questions as we went.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I guess the questions I might have, if I think about it, is where do we go from here? Are you? Is that a future episode? Or are you prepared to talk about 2024?
2024, as we alluded to, we're going to make some changes with the tech stack, and we really got to reevaluate all of our KPIs as we do that. Right now, we have them set again like they are for this year. We want to meet and hopefully get better than what we are this year, but we also want to make sure that we're balancing. For instance, speed of answer. I don't want a 10-second speed of answer, because that means we have too much wasted time that we're paying resources for to be able to pick up the phone that quickly. So it's a balancing act is what you're looking at.
What you're saying is that you don't know that the juice would be worth the squeeze at that point. It gets to a point of overpaying for time that may not be as super efficient. And in an era where we always have to be mindful of our costs, right? Because we have to be efficient with our costs so we can pass along those savings.
Live within our harvest.
That's right. There you go. No, I think we're good on the KPIs. I'm excited to see, I'm trying to anticipate what others might want to know. And I tried to ask that, how do you develop a team? How do you bring an in-house team? How do you maintain culture in a fully remote organization how do you get everyone bought in? Well, those would be some of the questions I would have. You've got a fully remote team and everyone's bought in and you can monitor and track everything, but maybe your answer might be, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but your answer might be, hey, they really like working from home. And for that, they're doing everything they need to do. We trust them to do their jobs. I don't know what you think is the secret sauce there.
Well, I will start with, it's all about measuring it. It's always about getting it in front of them, showing them what they were able to accomplish. But the other part is really communication, which I know Anita's going to talk a little bit about that and the things that we've been working on for this last year, because we had some really good wins there as well.
Okay. Well, leadership is communication. So Anita, great job on communication part. So talk to us about it.
Okay. Well, you're right, Charlie. I mean, I think our team, they love working from home. And I understand why. But one of the things that helps us to continue to have great engagement is the communication piece. And one of the things that we do is we have quarterly listening sessions, because we want to make sure we always have the lines of communication open with the team. So we meet quarterly. Every CX All-Star is invited to a meeting, and they can come in and talk about their experiences. They can be a voice for the customer. Whatever they want to talk about, we are open and ready to listen.
Is this in person or remote?
This is remote.
Okay.
So these would be 4 quarterly meetings, Teams meetings that we have. And Enchantia Mathis, who is our assistant manager based out of Fort Oaks, she facilitates all these meetings. She takes the notes, makes sure that if there are any action items that we need to work on, that she's curating all of those. She's our liaison between customer experience and other teams and departments. So she does a great job of making sure that we follow through with anything we've promised, that we follow through on what we're hearing from our team members. And we actually took that a step further at the end of last year, because now we've created an email address that our team, they don't necessarily have to wait until we have the quarterly sessions. They can send us their ideas, suggestions, anytime. And she's manning that particular email address and making sure that we, continue to follow up and work on these things throughout the year.
And are those ideas flowing through? And how do you incentivize someone? What is the reward for submitting an idea?
Well, you know what, Charlie? We have, maybe it's because we're in customer service, but we have a very vocal team. So it doesn't take much incentive to get them to open up and share. But I do think the work that our coaches do, and Brad and Sherelle and Brittany, who are our managers, the work that they do to make sure that people feel comfortable sharing. That's the most important thing. People are going to share with you if they feel like they can, and there's not going to be any retribution or anything like that. So I think we're fortunate in the fact that our team feels very comfortable sharing information, so we don't have to press too much.
Yeah, I think everyone has to know, like, we all want to just do a better job for the customer. And so you've gotten everyone on the same page. How are you teaching them just about business and what these KPIs mean and elevating their business acumen?
Gotcha. Well, one of the things we do, especially when it comes to our frontline agents, is we started having quarterly on-site meetings with them last year. So once a quarter, everybody comes into the contact centers in Fort Mill or Fort Oaks, and it's a time for, being able to just see your teammates who haven't seen face to face in a long time. But we also use that for team building. We use those opportunities for more learning opportunities and trainings, talking about business acumen, talking about our KPIs, making sure that people understand what the expectations are individually and for the whole team, and really just enjoying one another. And then at the end of this year, it's also fun too. So we had a celebration around the holidays.
Charlie came in for it.
Yeah, you saw it. You were there for the Fort Mill. So we had a great time. We were cutting up, laughing, eating, dancing, playing games. So it's just a great way to get everybody in, and because they're remote. So it's just a great way to interact with one another again.
Well, you guys have always been the big, know how to throw a party. Customer Service Week and celebration. So you don't want to miss a CX party. That's for sure.
Very true.
That's for sure.
Very true.
And talk to me about like customer journey mapping and you talked about customer effort score and elevate plans and your budget process, your whiteboarding sessions. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay. Specifically for our leadership team, I think we consider ourselves very fortunate that we work with leaders who want to invest in themselves, because they know the better that they are, the better that they can help with their families, their teams, their lives, or whatever. So this year last year, I keep saying this year, but last year we focused on business acumen, teaching business acumen. Wes came up with it, put a great presentation together to kind of get us going. And then each quarter that we had our leadership on-site meetings, we focused on a particular area. So the first area was customer journey mapping, and we did it actually in the Fort Oaks location. We had a ball. It was so much fun. We created customer personas, and then we walked through what their journey should look like. Wow. And, really talked about friction points or, a perfect journey, what that looks like. And from there, again, just using the business acumen teaching, understanding what that means in our world. From there, the second quarter was budget process and review. So the team really enjoyed that because everybody wants to understand, the financials. And for our team, they wanted to understand, when you talk about living in our harvest, what does that mean from the CX side? What do we need to do to make sure we are, helping Broad River meet whatever our numbers are? So that was interesting. Each of our leaders now has an Elevate plan, which is really their development plan, because they want to get better. They want to grow, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to help with that. And then whiteboarding sessions. I mean, we probably have stock in whiteboard sessions as much as
we need more markers.
We need more markers. But the whiteboard sessions are really just brainstorming and making sure that we are paying attention and setting ourselves up for, how we want this year to go and what we want in the future. So
good, to borrow a phrase from my friend Davin. Who is on your leadership team? When you say CX leadership team, who's on that team? Who's not on that team?
Okay. So that would be, of course, Wes, me, and Samantha. We have 3 managers, Brad Mellon, who oversees, I don't like that word, but coaches with our frontline CXA agents, our customer experience advisors. So over the Fort Oaks and the Fort Mill teams. And we have 4 supervisors that lead those teams. Orlando Stewart. I was going to say, Orlando Stewart, Zanetta Evans, Datavia Crum, and Enchantia Mathis, and they lead that team. And then Samantha has Brittany, and I also have Sherelle Manis, who leads our customer consultants team. So they're the guys that we used to call them the customer solutions. So all of those higher level things that you send to us and Wes sends to us, they handle that, and they do a great job.
Yes, they do.
They do. And Sherelle has a new supervisor that we brought on last year, Rita Hurst, who's been with us for several years and is doing a great job. So, and we have Brittany and Samantha Johnson
Are Dolores and Alicia also
Yes.
on that team as
Dolores
well?
is our QA manager, so
Yep.
she's still responsible for the grading of our calls, the listening. She is great at really helping us dive into
Problem areas.
issues,
Yeah.
our problems. Yeah, taking a call, and she's like a what do you call it, forensic accountant or something, but she's a forensic listener, I guess is the right auditor. She can, go through and really give so many details. And then Alicia is just doing a great job as our content developer.
Yeah.
And you also have Maddie and Taylor.
Maddie, my goodness, Maddie is our workforce coordinator who does a lot of other things other than that. And then we have Taylor, who's Taylor Pennington, who's now a part of our team that is leading the delivery side. Yeah.
Well, you've accomplished so much, and do you feel like the team is pretty good with business acumen now? And are your incentives and contests and prizes, or your weekly meetings with the team, do they understand not just your KPIs, but how do you convey like how the company's doing? Do you look at written sales, delivered sales to budget, things of that nature? Like, talk to me about like just the broader business acumen and the incentive plans and bonus programs.
Well, I think, first of all, the town halls are very effective in sharing, kind of getting us, I guess, talking about what the company's doing and what that understanding of where we're going as a company and what we're focused on and what we're looking for, working for. So when we're having our one-on-ones with one another, when we're in our initiatives and meetings, we all have projects and tasks and, things that we're working on that kind of lead up to where we're going as a company and what our bottom line is, what we're trying to do financially, where we're trying to improve services and things like that. So it's a constant conversation about those things because we know that, our team wants to be a part of the success of Broad River Retail. So we really focus on it.
And to add to that, you ask about business acumen. And I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed with this team is the engagement of the things that need to be accomplished and what's the ROI that comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very interested in doing budget reviews and understanding where we met our budget, where do we have
I love that.
fall, everything with that. So we started having those conversations monthly as well.
Do those sync up with your bonus programs?
So the bonus program, we continue to review quarterly with input, and we got a lot of input from the team heading into 2024 to make some adjustments to make sure that we're still staying in that 15 to 20% top talent that we want to be able to reward, but that we're making it achievable. And there was times in 2023 that it wasn't quite as achievable as we wanted it to be. So we made some adjustments there with their input, with the leaders' inputs. Okay.
Well, as we wrap up here today, Wes, as you're looking ahead at 2024, both of you, what's next? What's on deck? To use some baseball language there. What's on deck for us for 2024?
Well,
how do you keep a winning streak going? Like how do you keep this? You gotta let the streak roll out. You gotta keep it rolling.
Right. Well, we've talked about the technology. That's that project has already started. We're in the throes of that now, and we know that that's going to help us improve our customer experience and, as important, improve our team member experience. I think that we want to make sure that we use AI because we know that's the direction that everybody's going, but we want to humanize it. We want to make sure that we're not, we're just not bringing it on to bring it on, but that it makes sense in our business, it makes sense for our customers and for our teammates.
Okay.
Speaking my language. I love the humanized AI. I keep using that phrase over and over.
Humanized AI.
Yeah.
What does that even mean, Wes?
So with that means using AI for purposes, self-serve purposes, anything that you can do to help answer the customer's question, but have a human available to take the call if there becomes an issue.
Got it.
Because there's too many AIs that get launched and you just get stuck in a loop and you don't really answer the question. But to kind of add and wrap up what Anita is saying as well, I think that our biggest goal this year is to continue finding ways to re-energize the team. To make sure we had a call this morning and we talked about agent burnout. We talked about certain things. There's some things we want to really talk about, mental awareness and things like that in 2024 as well.
I think it's a great call out. And you didn't put the stat of turnover, and I'm just going to throw this out here. How was your turnover in 2023? And was it where you wanted it to be? Was it better than, or and how would it rank against previous years?
Yeah, we ended the year at 42%.
That seems really low for
the industry. And as you're talking to Manny, he'll probably say it was a little too low for the industry, from that standpoint. But what we're seeing, especially the last quarter of the year, is a lot more concerns with the team and showing up for work on time, showing up for work, which is causing more points. So we want to try to address that to keep our attrition down, so that we don't have to keep, bringing more people in and training more people.
I'm going to surmise here that we've never had a year in the contact center anywhere near 42% turnover.
No, this is one of the best. I mean, we started making improvements in 2022, and they just continued in 2023. So
what was the previous best turnover year that we had? Maybe 60,
Charlie.
70%?
That might be good.
80%? 90%?
Yeah.
So,
it was hot.
I mean,
I ran a contact center was 158% before.
Yeah. So keep this like,
just saying.
Well, I think you can talk about correlation or causation, but I dare surmise and posit that all of your KPI wins, you've got a great tenured staff, and we'll see what the engagement surveys tell us, but are probably enjoying their work, feeling engaged with the work, enjoying winning, enjoying the identity that they have and the elevated status.
And we're listening to them.
And listening
That's
to them,
piece.
and so feel like they're heard and seen, and enjoying having fun during the celebrations. So that's got to contribute. It's got to be a big contributor to the KPIs that we're having. I think those to have less than 50% turnover in a contact center, it's kudos to you and to you both and to your leadership. And hey, let's keep it going. So you elevated, and so we'll see. I can't wait to bring you guys back and see what the 2024 trend line or results or accomplishments are. So I'm so glad we brought you on to really unpack KPIs and to talk about the CX All-Stars and talk about all the ways that you guys are really collaborating together as a team to improve the customer journey. So great job. Thank you so much, Wes and Anita. So that is it from this episode of Stories from the River. We try to bring you fresh new content twice a week. And we're going through our recap series of 2023 here with Wes Dudley and Anita Harris from Customer Experience. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.